Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode in our Save a Seat series here on Patreon, where we dig deeper with our contributors on any topic that they bring to the table. Specifically, now we are going through our contributor chat series. So, if you've been with More for a while, you know that we publish 2 issues a year, and our fall issue is always about women. So, issue 11 is called Women Who, and it asked us to think about the women in our lives who inspire us, who've made us who we are today, who have saved a seat for us at the table, and we get to talk to some amazing women today that are making Indianapolis a better home for everyone who lives there. So thank you so much, Alli, Alana, and Kylie, for joining me again here on Patreon.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here.
Thanks
We're
for
so
having
excited.
us.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me. It's always awesome to sit down with amazing women and find out how you're contributing to your communities and making the world a better place. And I wanted to start by figuring out how life in Indy became what it is, the origin story and what inspired not only the organization but the idea of the Indyfluencers. So, Alli, can you tell us a little bit about the inception?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Life in Indy, and what a lot of people don't know, Life in Indy is the livability initiative through the Indy Chamber. So, I work at the Indy Chamber, and Life in Indy was really conceptualized back before 2020, before COVID. And, we work a lot with small businesses, the community as a whole, those 10 regions that we talked about in the last episode. And there was a gap in the community of just addressing talent attraction and retention. It's like, how do we get people here? How do we get people who are here to stay here? How do we promote the Indy region? And so the idea of Life in Indy was born. Um, it was born with the help of the Lilly Endowment Grant. We had a 4-year grant generously provided by the folks over at Lilly. And yeah, that really helped kickstart it. I came in last year, and so I don't want to take all the credit by any means. That was my boss, Joe Pellman, and one of the other contributors on this article, Lauren Kinney, who was my predecessor for this role. They really built Life in Indy up to what it is today, and I've been continuing it. But again, Life in Indy is just kind of that go-to resource for livability in Life in Indy. So we provide content, we provide connection, and we provide just a support and a guide to everything you want to know about living in the Indianapolis area and the region itself.
Yeah, I think it's so meaningful to hear those things from people that you can really connect with. I mean, it's one thing to, read a Yelp review, but it's different when you follow somebody on Instagram and they're like, "I just went to this amazing restaurant, you have to go try it." Like, so much more meaningful when you know the person behind the recommendation. I think it just adds that much more credibility to it, and I think that this organization specifically has taken that idea and run with it in terms of making Indy a more accessible place for new people and existing residents. Um, and Indianapolis is home to a number of colleges and universities, and it's mentioned in the article. And I know that, Alli, you've mentioned that you connect with and you support college students as part of Life in Indy. Can you speak to how that works as well?
Yeah, I like to tell people that Life in Indy supports a lot of different audiences, which I think makes us unique too. As we talked about in the last episode, we talked to current and prospective residents. We also talked to a lot of boomerangs, as we call them, people who grew up here and they decide I have to leave, and then they end up coming back. But a huge priority of the chamber itself and Life in Indy has been speaking to college students. And so with that, our biggest initiative, I would say, is our event called Fast Forward. And what we like to say about Fast Forward is it is an opportunity expo for college students. So it's open for college students, interns, and even people who just graduate or are young professionals who just moved here. But it is basically, think a job fair without like resumes or companies or anything. I mean, it's all these organizations you can get involved with in the city. So we invite run clubs, we invite co-working spaces, we invite sporting teams like IMS and the ultimate Frisbee team that lies here. We invite folks over at Pacers and Fever. We invite folks like IndyHub or AIGA, or even some of the music venues that are in town, the local venues. And so fast forward is this opportunity for young professionals to get plugged in with all the ways that they can get connected in the city. So that's our first biggest initiative of talking to college students. That happens every summer for the last 4 years. And it's really been quite a success to, one, get the name Life in Indy out to some of our youngest residents, but then also get them connected with organizations that they care about and that will impact their future life in Indy besides work. And then also, just we're there as a support. So we do get a lot of fresh out of college graduates that come to Indy, and they come in and let's just say they work for a Lilly and they come to the neighborhood that Lilly tells them is closest to campus and stuff. And that's where they just they live and they play, or live and they work right near Lilly. And it's our hope is to get them to kind of break out of that bubble and explore more of the downtown area and get connected with places and things that interest them.
Yeah. It can be really daunting, postgraduate life, to think, how do I belong in this place? How do I find, a new friend group now that it's not installed in my classes and my, college extracurriculars? Kylie and Alana, can you speak to what your life was like post-grad in the Indianapolis area?
Yeah. So I graduated in December of 2020, so still in the heart of all of the COVID shutdowns.
Yeah.
Took a remote job, so I was working from home. All of my coworkers were out of state, or most of them were out of state at the time. So it was really hard for me to find a community. Around that same time, I started trying to figure out what are ways to get connected. I had an internship with Indy Maven at the time. I know Moore and Indy Maven have done some work together.
Yes, definitely a friend of Moore.
So doing just virtual events that Indy Maven was hosting until live events came back on.
Yeah.
Eventually did get a job at an events organization in Indianapolis, but then got connected to the Life in Indy initiative, got to meet with Alli's predecessor, Lauren, and then also got to meet Alli, got onboarded as an Indyfluencer because I was like, I love this city too. This is really near and dear to my heart. How do I get connected here? But I will say, when I was at Butler, a lot of alumni were still really engaged with students there. And as an alumnus, I try to pour that back into Butler, where if a student reaches out to me on LinkedIn or email and asks to meet for coffee, I get so excited about that. And if they're like, I'm thinking about staying in Indy, I'm like, here are all the reasons why you should. And here are 5 people and 5 places you can go check out today. Just because I felt like there was such a great community of alumni who wanted to do that for me. And people really believe in young people in this city, and you can just grow really fast and get connected really fast. So while it was difficult when I first graduated, time and just really building those connections really helped with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, being post-grad and exploring Indianapolis as an adult was very different than my college experience. In college you're doing volunteer work left and right, and the only time you're leaving campus is, if you're going out to the community, you're doing a job interview or an internship or things like that. And so being post-grad was my first time being like, oh my gosh, I'm an adult in this city. To your point, Chloe, you don't have that community kind of built in the way you do in your collegiate life. And so for me, it was finding a church that I could get a part of and really kind of explore what a church community here in Indianapolis looked like. But then for me, where I found the biggest source of my community, I'm a regular at a coffee shop in Fishers called the Well Coffee House. And I would be there every single weekend, all day long, just people watch, have some time for myself to just doom scroll on my phone, work on projects on my computer, kind of just have some time to chat with with people as they came in. And surely over time in the past, 4 years that I've been a regular there, I've gotten to know so many other regulars. And I've gotten to watch people's love stories grow. I've helped set up proposals. Like, there are just so many fun things that happen when you're a part of like a community like that. And so when you have that consistent base where that, I don't have to have this person's number or text them to be like, hey, meet me at the coffee shop. I just know if I go and at 10 o'clock, someone's going to walk through the door that I know, and we can sit down and have coffee and catch up. And so I've found a really lively community. There are a lot of, restaurants or cafes or coffee shops in the area that have consistent regulars. And so even something as simple as your coffee every single Saturday morning can lead to such an amazing community.